Hello everybody and welcome to this week's episode of Analysing Anfield, your tactics and analytics podcast, courtesy of the Blood Red channel. This week it's a relatively special episode because it's obviously Christmas Eve and we've made the effort. Well, Dave's made the effort, I suppose, because Dave's the one who's off. But, you know, we've managed to get in the office.
That's it, commitment to the cause, mate.
Yeah, just about. I mean, it's I drove in there myself. It's very busy, to say the least,
hectic,
in the city centre. But yeah, we're going to get into it anyway. The football doesn't stop, does it?
No, it doesn't.
So we're going to look back at Flamengo. We're going to look ahead to Leicester and we're going to look ahead to Wolves as well. No idea how long this podcast is going to take this week. So we'll see how we go, I suppose. But the Flamengo game, what do you think? Thoughts on it? I think for me, we called it fairly accurately. I think both teams definitely had a go.
Yeah, as per usual, we seem to be getting a little bit stick about being negative. But I thought it was a good kind of rundown of what to expect from them. And they were a difficult side, as you would expect. You know, the champions of that continent.
You can see why, I think.
Yeah,
you can see
totally,
why. You know.
Yeah, I thought they were a little bit more tactically astute than maybe people were thinking. Obviously, they started with that 4-4-2, didn't they? But then it was often going into a 3-5-2. Which saw a bit of an overload of Liverpool's middle three. I thought they did quite well. Okay, they might have been offensively very threatening, but on the whole, it was a very competitive game, I thought.
Yeah, same. I mean, 18 shots overall for Liverpool compared to 15 for Flamengo. And the possession share was fairly even. I think Liverpool maybe had 53%. Flamengo had around 47 or so. So it was very much like, you know, to an extent, you have a go, we have a go, I suppose. And usually it turns out better for Liverpool in those matches, but this didn't seem to go that way. I think Liverpool missed a fair few chances. But, you know, Flamengo stuck with the whole high energy thing. One of the questions we posed last week was, would they adapt to Liverpool and introduce a bit more pragmatism? Or would they play their own game? And for me, it was the second option, really. For me, it was, you know, we play as we do. We stick to what we know, sort of thing.
But that's what I expected, you know, because a lot of sides that Liverpool face in Europe, and when I say Europe, I mean inclusive of the Premier League, just in the general sides they'll face over the course of a season, a lot of them will adapt to try and nullify what they can in terms of Liverpool's strengths. But, you know, Flamengo are a massive club from that side of the world, you know, they're huge, and I just couldn't imagine they'd be coming in and basically trying to, you know, play for want of a better term, a minnows game. You know, I did expect them to impose themselves, and you know, at the end it was a battle of two champions, wasn't it? Yeah,
and I think the fact that they had the support in the ground, I think, helped compared to the semi-final against Monterrey.
See, I couldn't hear it that well. I was in the pub watching it. So were they getting the bulk of the support? Were they?
They had apparently over 15,000 fans there.
Oh, did they? Yeah.
And I think Liverpool had at best a tenth of that, I think. So, you know, it's obviously a massive thing over in South America.
Yeah.
And fair play to them, you know, coming over and doing that. But I think we spoke earlier about the semi-final.
Yeah.
That maybe the lack of atmosphere in the ground contributed to a fairly flat match against Monterrey. But I think against Flamengo, a bit more fans in the ground, things like that, it increased the intensity a little bit, I thought.
It did feel big, to be fair to it. I didn't really know what to expect for the game, but it did feel like it was a form of final.
Yeah, it's a weird tournament because there's a perception for some reason in England that is different to virtually every other country. I think Real Madrid, certainly Barcelona, treat this tournament like it's a big deal. Every other team in the competition treats it like it's a massive deal. Liverpool, for whatever reason, and other English teams, English pundits and things like that, feel for some reason to play it down a little bit. There seems to be a perception in England that if every team can't win it, it doesn't count then as a competition. But you got to understand why why we qualify. It's not a friendly. We qualified purely because we've won the Champions League, which every team can't do.
Do you think a factor is that it's mid-season? Do you think maybe if this was a summer competition, it might change it a little bit?
Possibly. But it's only mid-season for European teams.
Yeah.
It's the end of the season for Flamengo. But it's a strange one why it's perceived like a charity shield. When for me it's different level. It's certainly a serious competition. It's the type of competition that you would add to your honours list, sort of thing. But I think, going back to the match, I think the first half was not particularly great. I think we started well in the first 10 minutes. We were all over them in the first 10 minutes, but beyond that, we struggled. They kept the pressure in our half for large periods quite impressively. But having said that, Liverpool have this way about them where, we may be under the cosh per se, but if you actually look at the shots we're facing, there's never really that much danger.
No, for me, it seems to be that there's, there can be the perceived onslaught, but without necessarily any sort of end product, which is more a testament to Liverpool's defensive abilities than the problems in attacking the opposition. I think they never seem to hit the panic buttons, so yet they might not be able to retain possession, or it might be wave after wave of attack for small moments of the game, but you're not always necessarily thinking there's a goal coming here.
No, that's exactly it. Yeah, and that what you've just mentioned there about you might struggle to keep possession for a little bit. Liverpool tend to have those phases in matches where, like, for maybe 20 minutes the ball just won't stick or whatever, but during those periods we never really seem to concede clear-cut chances or to be really... It's different dominating territory maybe and the ball against Liverpool, but to translate that into actual shots, to actually start out shooting Liverpool and hitting shots on target and things like that, that doesn't seem to happen.
How do you think the structural foundations always seem to remain in those moments for them, from a defensive point of view, which is huge, and they tend to ride out those moments, very rarely conceding a goal.
Yeah, just a little bit more on that first half, where Liverpool was supposedly the weakest side, the worst team. In that period, Flamengo had 5 shots, none of which hit the target, 2 of which were outside the box, 3 were inside the box, but 2 of those were headers, so, not that big of a deal facing headers. There was one chance where a ball got played inside Trent. Benjamin, no, it's Bruno. Is it Bruno Henriquez? Bruno or Benjamin, I'm not even sure on that one.
I'm not sure.
I have to double check that. But he got inside Trent anyway, and Joe Gomez ended up darting across, amazing pace to actually clear the ball for the corner. Bruno.
Yeah.
Joe Gomez intercepted the shot before it actually came, really. I said that was the biggest danger for me, that moment, but beyond that I didn't really feel too troubled. As I said, people are inclined to say that when you can't keep the ball and stuff like that you're under caution, you're struggling and things, but they do seem to just be phases for Liverpool. It's not necessarily us playing badly or being the worst team, it's just a 20-minute period that we seem to have to experience before we then start pushing on to the next level.
It's quite unrealistic, isn't it, to expect a side to dominate every single aspect of the pitch for every minute of every game.
Yeah.
I think you're playing the highest level football here. That's impossible to do, but it's important that in those moments where you can't dominate those areas of the pitch, you remain defensively solid. And as I said, Liverpool do that.
Yeah, I mean the team that for me takes charge of the most moments throughout the course of a match is Manchester City. But the difference is with them, they seem to face like very sporadic, clear-cut chances, like one-on-ones with Ederson. Alisson very rarely faces a one-on-one, and if it is a one-on-one, the player will maybe have Van Dijk literally right next to him, or someone pushing him, or something like that. It's never clear-cut, is it?
Pressure, always pressure, yeah.
Like Vardy, for example, scored against City on the weekend, didn't he? Those chances City seem to face quite regularly. Liverpool very rarely do.
I totally agree. Like City, I'm not checking now, but I mean, I'm pretty confident that if we looked, they'd be dominating still nearly every metric in the Premier League, which
probably with the exception of XG per shot against.
Yeah, XG. Well, yeah, we know that. Actually,
which is,
yeah, we know that that's not great for them, for the reasons you've just said. But this City is such a dominant side, and they dominate for most part. But as you just said there, problem is they can't seem to grind out in those moments that we've just been complimenting Liverpool on. You know, when they are potentially not seeing a lot of the ball or facing attacks, quite often they will lead to goals conceded, and that's why Liverpool remain undefeated in the division this season, and City aren't. City are way off it.
Yeah, I mean, you can almost live in moments against Manchester City, wait for those moments that you know you'll get. Whereas against Liverpool, you don't really get moments, do you? You just get like openings maybe that you can try and use.
Half chances.
Yeah, half chances and things like that. But you know, second half Liverpool improved certainly. As I said, we created plenty of chances that I in behind I thought, but we just didn't seem to take them.
I was looking at that. No, the ball's over the line stuff.
Yeah, I thought we'd exploit it more so, I must say.
Well, they say that
we did a bit, but
84 long passes they attempted, and the season average across all competitions is 61.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so there was
maybe it just didn't come up on the eye test for more.
But I did that, and I watched a few of them actually just to see how successful they were, and I found even when they weren't winning the first ball, which they don't always do, they just always seem to pick up the second, don't they? Just always seem to hone in on it and sweep it up.
We might as well address it now. The actual goal did come from a similar thing to that, I suppose. I mean, I think it would go down as a wrong pass, actually, even though it wasn't particularly aerial. But Jordan Henderson threw ball to Sadio Mane. Obviously, Mane cuts inside and plays it to Roberto Firmino. And Firmino eventually, having taken about 4,000 touches, puts it in the back of the net. And I just, a quick word on Henderson, because he seems to be talk of the week at the minute.
Yeah.
Certainly on Twitter. I do think he played really, really well on the day. Proper captain's performance. Just little things that people are inclined to overlook, like constantly in the referee's ear and things like that. That you just, do you know what I mean? Just get him on side and things like that, and put him under a bit of pressure to start making decisions a certain way. And I don't know. I just think it was a proper captain's performance from Henderson, setting up the goal. Well, I suppose Mane gets the assist, but he sets up the goal really, doesn't he? Yeah.
I think Henderson's been fantastic for a while now. It's good to see him. He's finally getting some credit for it. I actually thought, I'm not taking anything away from him because it was a good ball, but I think if that ball gets played in the first 20 minutes, it probably gets cut out by that defender. I can't remember his name. But I was really impressed just to counter that by Firmino's run. If anyone's listening now or watching it on YouTube and they can watch the goal back, I just love the way, as the play's building, the ball's being played, Firmino was like basically on the halfway line. And he's got a defending player with him, and the pace and just, the intensity to just get forward, it creates like a 2-on-1, which obviously leads to the goal. But anyway, back to Henderson.
What's your stance on him as a player? How does he look from an outsider's? Because from a Liverpool perspective, right, I think what the issue is there's a group of fans that maybe don't appreciate him as much as they should, and there's a group of fans that maybe overplay what he does, I'd say. And when he has a good game like this, the overplaying fans really, really overplay him and describe him like he's Zinedine Zidane. And that results in the people that maybe don't like him coming out and feeling the need to respond because people are exaggerating. So I think that's where it stems from. I think he's basically bang in the middle, really, I suppose, of those that underplay him and those that overplay him.
My opinion,
for me, I do think he's a bit underrated. I think Jordan Henderson.
I think Henderson's an excellent all-rounder. I think he can play different positions in the midfield and do a solid job in each. I think he's a fantastic passer of the ball. I think he's a really good leader and captain, and you'd have to be captain in this side when you've got players like Van Dijk there as well, who have got their own captain credentials. I don't know if I'd necessarily put Henderson in the elite bracket, but I think he's got a lot of the psychological components to his game.
Yeah, definitely.
That take him that next level for me compared to maybe similar players with his skill set.
Yeah.
And that's why I rate him so much, and I think he's good for this Liverpool side.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of players out there, isn't there, in Europe that have made a career largely because of their mental fortitude over their actual technical ability.
Yeah.
Jamie Carragher comes to mind, and that's no slate on Jamie Carragher's ability.
Not, no.
But he's just, an absolute mentally driven character. I'm thinking of maybe a few other players from throughout Europe. Again, this is not a slate on his technical ability, but maybe Gattuso over at AC Milan, another player who was just really driven. And I think these players, they just act as an engine room, don't they? They just a bit of backbone when certain situations are going badly. And if you look throughout the Premier League, so many clubs lack a backbone. And I think so many clubs, so many managers in particular, would kill for a Jordan Henderson in the centre of the park for them.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for his footballing ability, although that would come into it, but just for, the presence that he has and the contribution, as you say, on the mental side of the game. Like, people questioned when James Milner was given a new deal recently. From my perspective, providing he was okay with the reduced playing time, I would say to Milner, you can literally stay as long as you want, because you really can't underestimate the concept of a dressing room. You really can't.
No, well, we've said on other shows, haven't we, that I've said since working in football, my appreciation for the psychological aspect of the game is bigger than ever. Like, and it just feels so important to me now. And I think in Henderson's case, Henderson is a great player. He's a good footballer, but I think he fits so well in an elite side because of those psychological aspects of his game. If he didn't have them, he'd probably still be a top 4 player, but he'd be playing at the now crowned best team in world football, or is it world champions?
World champions, yeah.
To be the captain of that side, you've got to have something a little bit more, and he's got it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Klopp recently said, like, on the day of the Barcelona comeback, the 4-0, straight from the off at the very start of the day, I think he said, like, James Milner came in and he was like, he was pushing his teammates, pushing his players, winding them up and that, as if to say, like, getting them riled up very, very early, so that when it comes to the match, they were kind of like ready to go, sort of thing. And it really does sound simple, but there's plenty of players out there that just they either wouldn't think to do it or they wouldn't feel comfortable doing it. And if you've got, it's just that spine, isn't it? And it does sound very age-old pundit to start making these comments, like a bit of a Roy Keane comment or a Graham Souness comment, but they certainly still apply.
No,
they do.
Of course they do.
And I think those pundits are almost those pundits now, as in, you've almost got tactical pundits, you've got mentality pundits almost, you've got managerial pundits or so, and it goalkeeping pundits, and I think there's different types now.
Where do we fall? Somewhere in between.
Wannabes.
Yeah, wannabes, yeah. Maybe without the goalkeeping aspect, though. I'm not sure either of us could comment on that.
No. We'll see where we go, though. Still at the start. At the very start of the train, I think. Starts the track, sorry. One final comment on the Club World Cup. And this is a comment I hate making. I hate it when managers and fans make these comments, but the referee was awful.
Yeah, he had a stinker.
Oh, he was terrible. Yeah. Honestly, one of the worst referees I've seen. I don't know what his standard is. I don't know if he's professional or what. I
mean, you'd like to hope so, but I don't know I don't know his country of origin where he's
Qatar. Qatar, yeah. But just the performance on the day was really bad. And as I said, I generally don't agree with, when a manager loses a game, for example, and after the match, rather than looking at the performance and what he could have got right and things like that, he's inclined to blame the referee for not doing him a favour.
Yeah, because one split-second thing that happened over the course of a 90-minute
exactly,
game.
Yeah, and I never ever agree with it. It's never a good sign. It's always a manager looking to hide, I think. But I just thought this referee had to be mentioned because he was really bad
Yeah, I think
for both teams. I'd say.
Yeah,
as well.
I was about to say that. Yeah, there was no bias to either side. It was just poor across the board, and also the first decision you can let go by. The second one, yeah, okay. Third one, that's iffy. You think, and he must have 4 or 5 there. It was just a bad performance, and I don't think he'll be getting a game that big ever again.
Yeah, just really quickly, what did you think of the whole penalty incident? Did you think it was a pen or a foul? I mean, it weren't even given as a foul in the end.
Yeah, I think it was. If I remember correctly, it was outside the box, wasn't it? Though, when the actual contact bit's made.
That was debatable, and we were told initially that was why he went over to the monitors to determine where it was. But in the end, he actually decided that it wasn't even a foul.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, because also VAR's not really there. Is VAR there to overturn free kicks? So if he's saying it's not a penalty, free kick, and then he's overturning the free kick.
I'm not sure on that, to be honest.
My opinion was, anyway, I thought it should have just been a free kick for Liverpool outside the box.
Yeah, okay, but it was definitely.
What do you think?
I wasn't sure on that one, but I was certain it was a foul.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when you slow down those incidents, it can look like those still shots. It can look like there's no contact when there is.
Yeah.
I hate that sort of thing.
It shouldn't be at that speed, should it?
No, not really. No, you shouldn't really slow it down to that extent in moments like that.
I think there'll be some change with VAR over the next few years, to be honest.
Yeah,
and that'll be one of them.
Hopefully. But world champions anyway.
Yeah.
So we will move on to the Boxing Day fixture. 2 upcoming tricky fixtures actually. Leicester we'll go on to first. We analysed them earlier in the season. I think this is the first team that we're facing now that we've already addressed earlier in the campaign.
It is, yeah, at the halfway point.
Yeah, but actually Leicester, I think I've progressed onto a bit of a different. Well, yeah, I think they have. I think earlier in the season we were a little bit sceptical. Certainly the numbers were a little bit dodgy. But
when was the game? It was October, wasn't it?
October, yeah.
It was still early, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I do think that they have convinced me to an extent now.
They have with me. I do think they're a really good side, and it's all come together for them. I'm still not convinced, which sounds ludicrous because I know they're second in the table. I'm still not convinced they're going to be title challengers.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I've never really been sold on the whole title challenges thing. It's just more a case of
actual good side.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I felt the need to post a few of the results alongside the XG results on my Twitter, just as a means of saying, listen, this is not going to tail off. This is no flash in the pan sort of thing. These are deserving everything they're getting up until that point, which we'll address because it's obviously tailed off a little bit. But you know, they seem to have found the feet. They're yet to lose at home, which is an interesting one. But the last time we faced them, arguably Liverpool's best performance, at least, with the exception of finishing of the season. I mean, you had the content.
Yeah,
you had a bit of an alternative view,
yeah.
but I just remember us absolutely battering them.
Yeah,
and the XG on the day.
And maybe I got it wrong because I mean, I'm not changing my viewpoint, I'll be honest, but I will accept that you'd said that. A couple of mates that I met up with after the game said something similar to that, albeit just fans on the street. But for me, Leicester just always felt in the game, and I think that's when I was raising the discussion about how XG maybe tells a story in terms of chances, but it didn't feel like it was dominant throughout, all over the pitch for me. It felt like they were always in the game, and obviously they got an equaliser late in the second half, but that's probably another discussion.
Yeah, I mean, according to expected goals, it probably should have been a 3-0. That's why I'm inclined to look at the side that I'm looking at. 2.8 XG for Liverpool and 0.2 XG for Leicester. 18 shots for Liverpool, 2 for Leicester. Their first shot of the game was scored, I think, by James Maddison. And I agree that they had a degree of territory during the game.
You're not giving me a fighting chance with those numbers, are you?
I agree that they had a degree of territory during the game. And we didn't pen the team in the final third like we usually see. But I think they just found it difficult on the day to translate their possession to actual shots, which does tend to happen against Liverpool, to be fair.
It's almost what we were talking about at the top of the show.
Yeah, it is. But one thing I will say, I think this is really, really important. I think when I say that Leicester have found their feet and they look like a much better side now, I think they've really, really changed and really kicked on since winning 9-0. I think... I have a theory that when a manager comes in with all these idealistical, is that a word?
Yeah, I think it is, isn't it?
Beliefs and that.
Or ideologies.
Really philosophical, we'll go for it. Philosophical approach.
Yeah.
Like a Pep Guardiola and a Brendan Rodgers and things like that. I think players almost need the confirmation that this is the right way to go, this is going to actually work, sort of thing. And I remember when City really went for the league and really steamrolled everybody, that really seemed to kick on after they beat us 5-0 at the Etihad. Yeah. We obviously had a man sent off, but it just seemed to give them newfound belief, I thought. And he pushed on them from that to a new level. And I think Leicester, although again a man was sent off, for you to play your own game and win 9-0 in any game, it just seemed to kick them onto a new level. And if you look at their results since, it does capture that. It's
funny, you know. I agree. More so just with the psychological aspect again, which seems to be the buzzword in this podcast, but that's not on purpose. But not just the 9-0. I think they've had moments where they've won. I wouldn't say won ugly, but the example I can think of is, you know, last minute winners when they won against Everton, when it was a hard 1-1 draw and it looked like it was destined to finish that. They pop up with a last minute winner.
But yeah. I'm just showing Dave the XG there.
Yeah, sorry about the distracted tone of my voice. I'm just reading up on it now. But let me continue with this point before we get that. Obviously, and then Everton as well, ironically, in the cup game, 2-0 up, cruising, ends up drawing 2-2, but still find a way to progress on penalties. You start just having this aura a little bit about you of being unbeatable, whether it does still feel like that after the City game, which we'll come on to. But I think that's why they're doing so well. They've just got this, similar to what we've seen at Liverpool, no matter what, they'll find a way. Yeah. And to a lesser extent, Leicester have had that a little bit over the past few months.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I mentioned the Southampton game is because since the Southampton game, Leicester were every single match winning the XG by at least double the opponents, which suggests that, if you remove bad luck, if you remove refereeing decisions, the actual performances between both boxes on the day, Leicester's has been basically twice as good than each opponent. That was the case against Palace, then against Arsenal, then against Brighton, then against Everton, then against Watford, and then against Villa. And Villa's to such an extent that I felt the need to post these results. You can check me Twitter if you want to see these. But the expected goals against Villa away from home as well, which we found are quite tricky, away from home against Villa.
Yeah.
Leicester posted 4.7 XG and Villa posted 0.9. So that's basically, you won 4-1 on the day, which is fairly accurate. Basically a 4 or 5-1 win based on your performance. And I just thought that was really impressive.
Yeah, because as you've just touched on, tough places to go.
It just got to a point where I thought, hang on, this is fully deserved. And it seemed to stem from the 9-0. They seemed to just get on board the train and just keep going, sort of thing. Rodgers did it with us a couple of years ago, 2013-14. He is capable, fair play to him, of getting that momentum and really pushing on with it. Having said that, we have to address that recently they do seem to have hit a little bit of a snag.
Running out of steam, mate.
Well, I don't know, would you have labelled what they've been doing as steam, or because for me, as I said, it's been deserved.
I just mean maybe in the sense that everything's just been going so perfectly for them, and they have been kind of dominating in such a manner. So some days, sometimes that just doesn't happen. Norwich was a perfect example. You expected them to really blow Norwich away, struggling there at the foot of the table, and obviously it didn't quite work out like that. In fact, did they lose the XG in that game against Norwich?
Yeah, they did. I'm just going to get that up now. But in Leicester's most recent 2 matches, obviously against Manchester City and Norwich. So Leicester's XG against Norwich was 1.4. Norwich's was 1.8. So for that one, you're looking about possibly a 1-1, maybe a 2-1 to Norwich. And then the City
more
game...
vulnerable to the elements though, aren't you? Is it like the moments,
yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's reliance on chance, I suppose, in that match, with the performances being so equal. And then against Manchester City, Leicester posted 0.9 and City posted 3.3. So, I mean, I watched that game. City were really impressive. I thought they firmly established themselves as, listen, we're at least the second best team in this league. And Leicester struggled to deal with it. So it remains to be seen how they'll cope against Liverpool, because they certainly are on the verge of, well, I don't know, not receiving criticism, but I think they need to show a response now.
That's, you know what, you literally just took the words on me mouth. It's a response, isn't it? You know, if they went and got beat again, I think they could potentially tail off a little bit. I still think they're nailed on for Champions League places. But yeah, they'll be thinking we need to send a message by trying to win this game. Yeah.
I mean, overall, based on the season so far, they're still averaging about 14 shots and facing about 9/10. So there's a degree of dominance there. They're outshooting opponents on average by at least 4, which is decent to dominating the ball on most occasions. So they have still got that in their favour in terms of, like, they're not wholly reliant on the elements of chance like Arsenal maybe are, and, like, I don't know,
everybody else.
Well, most of the teams, yeah, except Liverpool and City, I suppose, and Chelsea. But yeah, so they're clearly a decent team, and I have a thought that maybe they will switch formations for this one, because 4-1-4-1 has been their go-to system this season, but they've used a diamond against teams that they used a diamond against Norwich and against Villa, and the reason behind that was because both of those teams had fullbacks that are inclined to dart forwards. So Rodgers wanted Vardy and Nacho to split and play behind those fullbacks. Obviously, Liverpool are renowned for having Alexander-Arnold and Robertson. So, any thoughts on that?
I feel like I've seen even Flamengo were doing it at times in trying to go 2v2 with Liverpool's centre backs, but I don't know. It just doesn't. Liverpool don't seem to get dominated when it happens. You know, it never seems to be that successful.
It stems from the centre backs, though, doesn't it? I mean, if you go on 1-on-1 with Van Dijk, I can't think of anyone who would come out on top. Possibly Lionel Messi, but not to the extent that he'd beat Van Dijk wholly, because Van Dijk would probably recover anyway because of his speed. I'm
inclined to think, although I understand what you're saying, I'm inclined to think that he'll go 4-1-4-1, you know, and just hope that Vardy gets one of those chances he got, like, against City, because I guess we're going to come to Vardy in a minute, but he's just so clinical, isn't he, that he probably thinks make ourselves difficult to play through or get past, and try and create something for Vardy, and there's a good chance he might convert it. Yeah, I just have a thought that maybe he'll go with the diamond system. Just quickly, rather along, Leicester. What do you think of Inacho since he's kind of turned this corner? Did you like him originally? I did, yeah, but he was a weird player, wasn't he? He almost fitted into that mould of he's a sub. He's that sub, like a Chicharito type player, and maybe a Divock Origi type player who is just a bench impact player. But he did post good numbers. He was certainly worth the £20 million punt, I think it was. Something like that, yeah. Which obviously Leicester. A couple of seasons ago as well, wasn't it? So yeah, I think he's still quite young. I think he's at most 25. So and just another good buy from Leicester. I think he's another striker option that Rodgers clearly values. Yeah. And whenever he's came on the pitch for Leicester, he's looked really hungry, clearly willing to work and things like that. So I think he was a good sign. I think more clubs should have spotted that, I think, to be honest. I think a few of the kind of, not the top tier Premier League clubs, but the next ones down were interested. Obviously Leicester got them. I think I think Everton were interested actually in one other. So yeah,
I was just going to say actually, Everton should have been interested.
I think they were,
but
I don't know if Leicester got in there first. But it's just interesting to see him kind of. It feels like it's been a breakout month for them, and now obviously we're talking about potentially starting them in a 2 against Liverpool. So it just shows his impact, and if he could kind of be a factor in the game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Rodgers goes for. But just knowing a bit of background of what he's like and things like that, and maybe where you can get at Liverpool, just maybe split strikers whereby Vardy drifts behind Trent, sort of thing. Maybe something like that.
Do you think he might change the back line a little bit in this game?
Rodgers?
Yeah, no. Klopp maybe not play one of the wing backs.
Well, I suppose he's got to, because we've only got 2 centre backs at the minute.
But could he not put someone like
Milner?
Milner, yeah.
I think it'd be mad. I wouldn't go for that personally. I can see the thinking in terms of just going a bit more defensive. Don't get me wrong.
Once again, I'm just conscious of people always saying negative. I'm not saying trying to go reserved against Leicester. Liverpool are by far the superior team. I'm just curious, to see if we've obviously picked up on it. Klopp's going to be aware of it.
Yeah, but if he does go 4-1-4-1, like you think, Leicester's wingers aren't that dangerous, are they? You've got Harvey Barnes and you've got Ayoze Perez. So,
and he might sometimes put Maddison out there as well, who obviously drifts inside a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah. So if he goes for a diamond, maybe it'd be, and it's causing us problems, maybe it'd be an option further into the match. So maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's an option, I suppose. But you mentioned Vardy there. I think for me, I've talked about this a few times. I think for me, he's the most efficient. Maybe not player, but the most efficient striker in the Premier League, without doubt.
100% agree.
Did a little bit of research on this regarding the numbers. So, 109 strikers in Europe's top 5 leagues have amassed over 1,000 minutes so far this season. That's 109. Vardy is 108th for passes per 90. So obviously never sees the ball in comparison to most strikers. He's 58th for shots per 90. So obviously he's not inclined to take a great deal of shots compared to the elite player. He's just bang average in that regard. But he's 5th for the percentage of his shots that he's got on target. And he's 1st for conversion rate as well. I think 61% of his shots, find the target.
Yeah, just short of 62 it is, yeah.
Yeah, and 37%, I think, of his shots result in the other team taking a kick-off.
Yeah, which is...
So, it's quite impressive, isn't it?
Oh, he's crazy, yeah. He, you've touched on it there, but it works out around 2.3 shots per game, which for a striker isn't a lot. You'll know off the top of your head what Salah posting is, about 4 or something.
About 3.7, yeah.
3.7. Like, so just show he doesn't shoot frequently. Sorry, but they're such a high quality.
What was that? 2.3 was that?
Yeah, 2.3. Yeah. But he's mainly there to finish Leicester's good work behind him, isn't he? Because he's only got 4 assists, but yet 17 goals. So he's there purely to finish attacks.
Yeah. See, I think this season he's going to comfortably score over 20 goals. And if he's
got 3 to go.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, he's on 17 now.
Well, if he's taking 2.3 shots per match and he plays all 38 matches, he's on track for about a total of about 87 shots. So if you score, 25, 30 goals off 87 shots, that's clinical. That's like a poacher.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want. I remember Rodgers when he said when he first got the job, he said to Jamie Vardy, "I'm glad you're here." A little bit David Brent. But
no, not Rodgers.
But I can completely get where he's coming from, because if you've got that player in your team who can just put the ball in the back of the net and do you favours.
Yeah. How long do you think he can do this for though? Because he's 32, isn't he?
And he doesn't seem to have lost a yard.
No, as I would say, he's a pace merchant, isn't he? Like that's a lot of his game is built on his pace, but he just doesn't seem to be. Is he just maybe more? Do you think he's just more efficient all round in his game? maybe picking and choosing when to make his runs and things.
Yeah, I think there's several things on this. I think he's obviously cut himself off from England duty, so he gets free breaks there. B, I think I'm correct in saying he's got one of those freezing cryogenic chamber things in his house, which Cristiano Ronaldo's got and Frank Ribery's had in the past. Apparently it helps with recovery and all that stuff. He's playing one match a week, obviously, and Rodgers has made changes in regard to, Jamie Vardy used to just press the entire back line on his own, like a headless chicken sort of thing. Rodgers has been inclined to say, listen, don't be doing that. Press as a team. If the pressing opportunity is none, keep your position and wait for it to snap. So I think he has made his game more efficient as he's got older, and I think it's made loads of sense. And he's also said himself that in the past he's been inclined to drift off and ask for the ball sort of thing, and Rodgers has said, listen, stay away from the ball. Yeah. Stay on the last line, offer a threat and behind. Again, just super efficient.
Exit the attacking third, basically.
He's just being used really, really well, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm really impressed with him. I think, I know everybody does think highly of him, but I think he remembered as being quite underrated in the Premier League, because I think he's one of the best.
Yeah, he is. Really, really top player.
In fact, I'm sure Klopp actually said he's one of the best strikers since he's been in the country.
Yeah, well, he has been a bit of in a Klopp mould, I think, since Klopp will have surely admired him as a player, the type of player he is, very, very fast, really aggressive, clinical and that sort of thing. Just one more point on Leicester before we move on. Liverpool obviously scored in the first meeting as a result of Leicester's high pressing. Leicester are currently the highest pressers in the league according to passes per defensive action, and that obviously results in their defensive line pushing high to stay compact. We presented the problem to them last time out at Anfield by putting Firmino, I think, on the left or as a number 10 or so, and I think Mane and Salah led the line. Yeah, took turns leading the line, and if a ball goes in behind, you've got Mane and Salah in a race against Johnny Evans and Soyuncu with excessive spacing behind, and we obviously ended up scoring from it. So it'd be interesting to see if we do the same thing again, just to present a problem of, okay, if you're going to press us highly, you've got that threat in behind, are you going to drop off, or are you going to take the risk, or what? Yeah. Again, that whole thing presents two tactical problems at once to the opposing team. Really good at doing it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they will do it again, but I do like the idea of, as you said, just keeping them guessing. A little bit of putting them on the back foot from the outset. When you've prepared all week for the side and how they're going to play, and then they just play a little bit different to that, and suddenly you're on the back foot, aren't you? A little bit with your tactics. I don't know whether it'll be replicated because they might be more prepared for that sort of change, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think if we do that sort of thing, I think we'll build down our left as we did for the goal, because that's the side that Johnny Evans is on. And I think if you can get Johnny Evans in a race, not that he's a bad defender, no, but if you can get him in a race with Mane or Salah, he's going to lose it.
I think you want to avoid Soyuncu because I actually think Soyuncu is very quick.
He is quicker than I thought. Last time I played it down a little bit, but he is quick. I'll give him.
In fact, he's been a really good defender.
Yeah, he has
been a really, really good defender. And most people listening or watching will probably be aware of him, but if not, keep an eye on him because.
Do you think to the extent that you'd avoid him?
If you're playing against Evans and Soyuncu, I'd be looking to go down the other side. Yeah. Same way the way we talk about some teams will avoid Van Dijk. Yeah. I think I would avoid him. He's got a high ceiling.
Yeah, definitely. So before we move on, verdict. Tough one to call, isn't it?
Very tough. Yeah. I've said before, and it's not a criticism of Liverpool, but just because of how tiring their diary is, I expect points to be dropped at some point. If this was to finish a draw, although Liverpool good enough to win it, if it was to finish a draw, given the context of where they've been over the past week, the time of year it is, the amount of games they're playing, I think that would be a decent result. So I'm probably actually going to go with a 1-1 here, I am also desperately trying to avoid being Mark Lawrence and tipping Liverpool to win every week. But yeah, I'm going to go 1-1 conservative.
I'm finding it tricky with this one. I absolutely think it's entirely possible for this to finish as a draw. And if it does, that won't be the end of the world at all. That'll be a fair result. Obviously, we said Leicester yet to lose at home. But for some reason, I don't know if I'm being influenced by the first game. I feel as though 3-1.
Mate, put it in there. It's a Liverpool podcast. We need some...
Go on, I'm going to go 3-1
Yeah.
Liverpool. Just because I don't think I think we're a nightmare for Leicester. I do. And if they'd have still been rolling, then I'd have maybe opted for a draw. But the fact they'll have taken a slight hit recently with 2 matches,
self-doubt starts creeping in, I think.
A little bit, especially considering a bit of a lack of maturity in the team. So I am going to go 3-1 Liverpool. But weirdly, as I said, I do think a draw is entirely plausible.
Yeah. That'd be some result there, 3-1 away at Leicester.
Yeah.
There's not much you can say about Liverpool anymore, like that you haven't already said, but that would be a really standout result. And entirely possible, as you said.
So, Wolves.
Another tough game.
Well, funnily enough, we said Leicester are a tough match. Liverpool are obviously unbeaten at the minute. Liverpool have lost 0. But beyond that, the second best team has lost 3 matches. Do you know what that is?
Well, it's
Leicester.
Yeah, Leicester,
and
yeah.
Wolves.
Yeah, well,
So
I did have a little bit of a rant on Twitter about Wolves not so long ago, so I was a little bit aware of their records.
yeah, so beyond Liverpool, the 2 other teams that are technically the trickiest to beat, we face back to back, which is interesting. But yeah, bit of an underrated side, I think. I think they're great. Really, really, really good.
No, I think it happened with Wolves, right? At the start of the season, didn't win, did they, for like 5 or 6 games? And when you're trying to take stock of how everyone's doing, and you were like, oh, Wolves, Europa League issues, they're not going to be able to replicate last season. I think you switch off a little bit to them, and they've gone under everybody's radar.
Yeah, they have, yeah. They're just really good at what they do. They're just impeccably well drilled. Everyone knows the jobs. You can see clear patterns of play and that sort of thing. And just a difficult side to beat, as I said. Having said that, although they're similar to Leicester in regards to being tricky to beat, they are a different team, aren't they? Completely different style of play, different challenge.
Yeah, they obviously, although they've got a certain, they can be threatening an attack, they're not anywhere near Leicester, are they, in terms of scoring goals or just that threat that they pose. And yet they're very much defend first, get that right, and then look to suck teams into them, hit them on the counter. But they don't really adjust that tactic no matter who they're playing, do they?
No. I think it's interesting that you perceive them as a modern team, don't you, and that sort of thing, really modern and that, but they don't press at all.
No.
Last time I checked, at least, I'm not sure what the PPDA is now, where they are for presses, but I think last season when I checked, I think they were something like, I don't know, 19th or something for pressing in the Premier League. I think they're more inclined to soak pressure, keep the shape, block off passing lanes, and go from there, basically.
Straight sides a little bit as well.
Yeah, I think they wait for you to make a mistake and then counter you. And I think they're one of the best in the league in transition, I think.
Yeah, I've just on that PPDA, 13.27, so basically got the third most relaxed press in the division.
So the 2 teams that are less inclined to press more than Wolves
are
Bournemouth?
No, Sheffield United, which
okay.
isn't that surprising if you actually think about it. The similarities between the 2, and then our favourite, Newcastle.
Oh yeah, okay. The deep block.
Yeah, the super deep block. Yeah, so
to the extent that you're in the stands.
Yeah, but yeah, going back onto Wolves, I think how they maybe don't get that tag that you'd expect. Say if there's a British manager involved, was they've got some really good attacking players, but they're also very good in the defensive aspects of the game. So they defend well, and then they tend to explode into these counter attacks. And
yeah, it's weird though, isn't it? Because we'd probably label Newcastle as defensive, but I wouldn't particularly label Wolves as a defensive team, even though the overall game plan isn't that dissimilar in terms of soaking pressure and then countering.
I just wonder, is it because we know though, because we write about them a lot, don't we? We watch them. We know that it's, whilst there is a defence first mentality, as I said, it's also an attack and ploy, isn't it? And something they're good at. So I just wonder, for example, Newcastle, you don't look at Newcastle and go, oh, they're really set up to be like a super counter-attacking unit here. You're like, they're just to defend and then try and take any moments that they do get to push up the pitch. But with Wolves, there's always this kind of awareness of, we can attack them, but we need to be concerned about the threat that they pose when possession's lost.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why we're a little bit softer on them in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, very much what you get, I suppose, in terms of formations. 3-4-3 is their formation this season, and the reason it's adjusted up top is because Adama Traore has moved into the fray. Seems to be a regular starter now. Obviously a massive threat, and I think he's one of the most unique tactical players in Europe. I think if you're a manager, he's a dream to just use as like a, from the chess perspective, where like you're very strategic and you can just use players based on what they've got. Traore is so useful, I think, from a managerial perspective. Yeah.
No, I agree. I'm a little bit besotted by him this year, just in terms of his. More so, just listen. While he can do a lot of things, it's just his dribbling ability. Like, it's just mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
like against Manchester City earlier in the season, he's surely got to be the only player in the Premier League this season to play right wing back and centre forward.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah.
And he played them both in the same game, and I think that.
He scored 2 goals in that game.
Yeah, he scored the pair of them. Yeah.
I was having a little bit look at his. I don't know if have you seen his dribbling numbers this season?
I have got his numbers. Yeah.
Have you? Yeah.
Do you want to go into them now?
Yeah, David, go on.
So there's 898 players this season in Europe's top 5 leagues to have played over 1,000 minutes. Adama Traore is top for dribbles attempted per 90, and his success rate, so the amount of times those dribbles come off, is also better than the top 30. That's including like Wilfried Zaha, Raheem Sterling's in there, Jadon Sancho's in there. So he's averaging the most attempts and he's completing more of them as well than the top dribblers out there.
Can we just stop from there? 70% success rate in dribbles. Like, I don't think people are grasping just how big that is. Like, you may see that in a central midfielder who attempts less than 1 dribble a game. But for someone who's doing, am I right to say it's close to 14 per game?
He's attempting
per 90?
13.5 per 90.
So nearly 14 per 90, and he has a 70% success rate.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's like almost unstoppable.
It is. It's mad. He's a mad player. And another little aspect that he shows up in well for as well. Progressive runs, which is obviously doesn't involve taking on a player, but does involve carrying the ball up the field with the ball at your feet. Again, 898 players, and Traore is second for progressive runs per 90. Do you want to have a guess who's first? Probably won't. Mind you,
I think, is it someone like Grealish or someone?
This is Europe's top 5 leagues.
Oh, Europe.
Grealish does show up well for this statistic, like but.
Go on.
Lionel Messi.
I thought it was going to be a bit of a surprise.
No, I was quite surprised, to be honest. I thought I didn't realise Messi carried the ball to that extent.
Yeah, but maybe people just don't want to try and tackle him anymore, so...
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But a really interesting player, and if Liverpool are inclined to dominate proceedings, he's obviously a massive threat on the break. He can beat anyone, really, apart from Van Dijk, I suppose.
But it would be interesting, though, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, he plays on the right. Van Dijk obviously plays on the left. He did try to beat Van Dijk at Molineux last season. It went down in Liverpool history on YouTube. You'll find plenty of YouTube videos on it. Van Dijk kept pace with him cleared the ball and all that stuff.
He seems a bit better this year, though, doesn't he? Like, it seems like that'll be a really good duel.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be interesting. Yeah, definitely.
He's also only 23 for the people who aren't aware of him. Like, he could have a really big future.
Yeah, he needed a lot of training, I think, but he seems to have reached a capable level now.
Yeah.
But one other thing on Wolves that I want to mention is similar to Liverpool. I think they seem to do clever little things from set pieces. I'm not sure if you've picked up on it.
No.
It's not been shown on matches of the day that much, isn't like that.
Yeah, only since I got this message off you about it.
No, they do. They've scored a fair few headers, I think. They scored against Norwich on the weekend, having slightly adjusted a delivery angle. And it got headed in by Roman Saiss. And they're doing something with Traore as well, whereby if the ball is in a position on the inside right, for example, where Trent would usually cross the ball, if they have a free kick there, they'll position Traore high and wide and then make a pass like slightly to the side of the wall, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And Traore, because he's so quick, he can dart towards that ball from behind being offside, if you get what I mean. And he'll catch it and then he'll play a cut pass ball. And it's very interesting to see him do it, because you've got to be a very fast player to be able to execute it. I've just described it terribly there. But I'd like to pull clips, but I can't, because Twitter won't let me anymore. But it's interesting to see what they're doing, so maybe that's something to watch. Well,
that's it. If they can try and convert any of those chances, they'll be huge for them, won't they? Because they probably won't create a lot through open play. I must say, I do love set piece routines, as we've talked about on the show a few times. But I haven't really been keeping an eye on Wolves. They haven't been on my radar in that regard, so I'll be keeping an eye out for that over the course of the game.
Yeah, but they themselves are also vulnerable, I think, from certainly crosses and possibly set pieces as well. I'm not particularly sure, but I think Liverpool maybe possibly have an opening regarding the set piece in this match. Usually when that's a possibility, we like to flag it.
Yeah.
And I think this is maybe one of those opportunities. I think their most dominant centre-back aerially by far is Willy Bowley, and I think he's out. And I think beyond that, they've got players that are fairly built, but they've got no real,
dominant defender. Yeah.
No real like Van Dijk in there, or even a massive one.
It's probably Cody, isn't it?
Yeah, but even Cody, used to be a centre mid.
Yeah.
I think he's about 5'10" or something like that.
Yeah, he used to play a bit of attacking midfield, didn't he?
Yeah, he played as an 8 for Sheffield United once, I think.
So yeah, there's definitely some.
Van Dijk scored last season against them at Molineux from the second phase of a corner kick, I think.
The second phase, mate.
Yeah.
The beautiful second phase.
And one more thing I want to flag is Neil Maupay scored for Brighton against Wolves recently. Not the week gone, I think the week before, from one of those, just a straight ball over the top. That we flagged against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
This was another one of them. Maupay, just one pass over the top, and Maupay scored. So
maybe it was a little Jordan Henderson, or
maybe a Van Dijk as well. You never know, but just that ball over the top, I think, is on again for Liverpool. Just one final word on one of their key players. A couple of years ago, I got asked. Well, not a couple of years ago, probably inside the last 12 months or so. But I got asked about, players that are capable of replacing or similar to Roberto Firmino, and I think Raul Jimenez could do a lot of it. I
think he's a fancy football superstar, mate.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, returns every week.
Yeah, no, he is, and I mean, joking aside, he really could be. To be honest, Josh, he's a good player. He's a very good player, and Wolves did well to sign him.
He's never below 7 out of 10, is he?
No, never. And you find if he doesn't score, he assists. In fact, I'm just looking at his last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In his last 5 games, he scored 1 goal.
Yeah, well, I've got numbers on that as well. In his last 11 games, he's only failed to contribute a goal or an assist in 2.
Yeah.
So he's doing something in virtually every game.
That's what just was about to say. I was like, you might look at his record and think 1 goal in 5 games, but out of 3 of the other 4 games, he got assists. So he's always contributing somehow.
Yeah, just that whole linking up with the players around you with your first touch. Like I've mentioned about Firmino plenty of times. Firmino doesn't need to take a touch and then look around. He's already able to link with his first touch.
Yeah.
That sort of thing Jimenez is really good at. Obviously he's going to be a threat on the break and that sort of thing. But I think it'll be an interesting game. I think definitely a tough week. I'm not sure if I'd go as far as saying I'd be surprised if we win both. But
No,
I wouldn't be surprised, but this is definitely a tough week. These teams don't get beat often.
There's little Liverpool could do it in the winning sense that would surprise me now. I think they could basically beat anyone, no matter how tough it is. But I'm with you. It equally wouldn't surprise me if we saw a points return of maybe 4 over these 2 games.
Yeah, which I couldn't really argue against.
No.
Do you know what I mean? You think
for me, Liverpool have done a lot of good work up until this point in terms of points return. So they've now given themselves a cushion for the rest of the season to potentially have those off days and not suddenly open the panic station, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how we go, but verdict, what do you think with this one?
I'll still back them to win this one, actually. I think, yeah, it might be dependent on what happens against Leicester. We very rarely do this, do we? Where we kind of preview 2 Premier League games. But I'm gonna back Liverpool to win that one and 2-0.
I'm gonna go 2-1 on that one. Do think it'll be tricky, but with it being at Anfield in particular, I think I fancy us to get over the line. It is on Anfield, isn't it?
No, it is. Yeah. Did I say it was an away game?
I'm not sure.
I'm talking rubbish. Probably everyone knows that by now, listening to the pod. No, yeah, I think that Anfield will be a deciding factor potentially as well if it is a tough game.
Yeah, so we will round up there. So enjoy the Christmas period. Merry Christmas, Dave.
Merry Christmas, Josh, and to everyone listening as well, of course.
Yeah, and we will be back after Wolves at some point to look ahead to the new year fixtures. So thanks for tuning in. Have a good Christmas and see you later.